7 News at 11.
Are you one of those people that is always looking for the magic diet that will help you lose weight and keep it off for good? Maybe the secret isn't finding the correct diet plan, but taking a look at yourself and how you relate to food emotionally. That is the premise behind a new book called Skinny Thinking. And Laura Katleman-Prue is the author, and she is joining us today in our studio. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Okay, let's just start with, this is really a personal experience that you went through yourself, and you decided to write this book because why? What brought you here?
You know, I've been wacky about food my whole life. I've been a yo-yo dieter since the time I was a teenager, and suffering and struggling and low self-esteem about it. And I finally found the missing key for me, which was changing my relationship with food by changing the way I thought about it. Nothing addressed that.
So much of the foods that we eat, it's an emotional thing. That's what you're saying. You have to deal with your emotions and figure out what those are, correct?
It's an emotional connection that people form with food, usually in childhood. And unless you address that, that's why you see people keep yo-yoing. 98% of the people who lose weight on a diet regain it within 3 years.
So what do you think the biggest mistake is that people make when it comes to dieting? They're not connecting with their emotions?
They're not. First of all, diets are temporary. So they go on a diet, lose their weight, and they just kind of bounce off it because they don't change the way they fundamentally look at food, think about food. They have to, the diet they really need is going on a thought diet, and that's what I teach people how to do.
Okay, so let's talk about that because that's the basis of your book.
Yes.
You say there are 5 steps that can help all of us lose the weight and keep it off. The first thing we start with is wise thinking. What does that mean?
Wise thinking is, again, changing that relationship with food by changing the way you think about it. And the thought diet is really learning to stop thinking about food so much, stop thinking about it romantically, and break your emotional tie with it. And I've got steps on how to do that.
Okay, so when you say wise thinking, though, you're telling me don't look at food as your reward or as it's going to make you feel good. Is that what you're saying?
It's nice tasting nutrition.
Okay.
That's
so
the mature rational.
Nutrition.
Right.
Look at it as energy for your body, and that makes it different for you when you finally decide to eat because you'll start making the right choices.
Exactly.
So your next thing is making the wise food choices.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's, you know, asking yourself, what is food really? And am I eating right now, or am I entertaining myself with food? And there's a big difference.
Okay. And then wise eating, which is kind of the same, right?
Wise eating is more of the food habits. You know, are you using wise portion sizes, waiting till you get hungry to eat, eating more slowly, just eating habits that a lot of people already know already, but it's an important piece of the puzzle.
Okay, and then finally, having a wise relationship with your body. What does that mean?
That's learning to accept your body just the way it is right now in this moment, and from that place, being able to change it if you want from a place of health and balance.
Okay, it sounds simple, but it's really not, is it?
You know, it is simple once you have the tools. The great thing is that emotional eating is a habit, and because you created it, you have the power to uncreate it. So there's a part of you that is not, is still hasn't really fully matured with respect to food, and once you use these tools, it's a maturation process, which means it's irreversible, the healing.
Okay, so you said a couple of things I think stick out. Diet is temporary, so forget the diet.
Forget the diet. Change your diet.
Your life.
Change your diet.
Your life, okay? Making smart choices and realizing why you might want to eat certain foods.
Right, exactly. Beginning to become more aware of what your eating triggers are, what's going on for you when you reach for food and you're not really hungry. So it's about 2 things. It's changing your diet permanently, and changing your relationship with food by changing the way you think about it.
It's an interesting way of looking at it because there's so many diet books out there, but this one really kind of gets to the bottom of it. Find the diet that's right for you and then think about it differently.
Think about food and right.
Well, thank you so much for coming in. I think this might be helpful for a lot of people. If you'd like to know more about skinny thinking, go to our website, abc7chicago.com. Now let's go back to Judy and Tracy.
You're so right, though, Sylvia. You know, it's easy when you think about it, but now you got to get there and do it. You know? Yeah, you got to put it into action.